2015 marks the 20th anniversary of Wired FM. To commemorate the anniversary, we spoke to Dr. Rosemary Day and Dr. Kieran Ryan about how Wired FM was set up and how it's transformed over the years.
We had to go for an open hearing process, and we did that, and we were given the licence to begin broadcasting in 1995, and that's when the fun began. The students who I was teaching that year took up the challenge and were very enthusiastic about it, and we got a bit of space in the back of the library. It was actually just a cupboard, and we put in a sound desk. The college gave us start-up funds, and I managed it on a voluntary basis.
Initially there was only one studio upstairs, then when they moved downstairs it was one studio with a back room for a number of years that was going to turn into a studio at some stage. And now, for my most recent trip in there, you can see there's two different studios.
We only broadcast, I think, for 3 hours a day. We had very limited resources. As I said, everybody was a volunteer, but the students that year were particularly gifted and creative, and it was all new. And I think probably their studies were neglected because they threw themselves into it with passion. And the shows weren't that terribly different to what they are today, because the students change, and what's new and fresh is whatever's current and whatever is important to them. The idea of community radio is not so much about the broadcasting, it's about participating and about bringing people together.
I know from the time I was involved in it that there was that kind of sense of community that came with being involved in a station like that. Within your own kind of community, or student community, we had these like little pockets of people who are, into Wired and into making radio, and some of my best friends still to this day are people I met through my involvement in the station. And then you're kind of interacting with, I suppose, a far wider community of people who are involved in radio making at a community radio station level.
Over the years, Wired FM has produced such people as Cian McCormack, Ruth Scott and Ruth Golden. We spoke to Mary Immaculate College Student Union President James Deegan about how Wired FM benefits the students.
The benefit of having a student radio station on the college grounds, I suppose, it kind of gives them a free range to see what the industry is like, particularly if you're doing the BA with the media degree there. So it does give them that aspect of what actually goes on in a radio station, to see that sort of development of, say, scripting your own show, the development of the production of your own show. It gives you a great insight to the actual bigger picture of radio when you leave college, and if that's something you want to pursue. It does have all the kind of, I suppose, I know there's no digital desk there, but it has the basics that you need to learn the skills that are necessary in the workforce when you go out in that area.